Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniatures. And look, to the surprise of nobody, we've got the Wargames Atlantic Lizardmen. Now, I know it's labeled classic fantasy, and yeah, those parts are in there, but look what they even put in the box. You got a bunch of Victorian sci-fi style lizardmen with muskets. Why would I not want to build those instead of guys with a bunch of, paltry spears? For shame. Musket options. Both European and lizard. Okay. And we've got... looks to be some kind of... almost like Foreign Legion looking dude down there. So, one of the cool things about this kit is, not only do we have the muskets, we've got, like, AK-looking assault rifles, we've got gas mask heads, we've got chameleon heads, we've got regular lizard heads, spiky lizard heads, weird... I don't know what that thing is. I'm assuming it's like binoculars? Or a pipe? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Let's take a look at the actual sprues. If I can go out without making a mess. Here. And they're all over the floor now. Alright, so 24 lizards. I was going to say dudes in a box, but they're not dudes, they're lizards. 24 to a box. So what, we got like 6 of these? No, we only have 3 bodies on these. Interesting. Gotta make room for all those swag, right? So I guess 8 sprues? Now, 3 basic bodies. One thing I noticed is we've got 2 nice curvy tails and then 1 totally stiff tail. I found that odd. I'd have liked to have had more options, but I can't complain considering just how many different heads we have available. There are enough gas masks for the entire box. So if you really wanted to have them all gassed up, it's totally doable. Same with the chameleon style heads. Same with the spiky heads. You've got enough to run any variety. And then like basic lizard heads here. Now we do have enough muskets. Like they said, European and lizard. I'm assuming the thicker ones. We've got 2 of those. And then we've got a thinner barreled one. I don't know which is which. And then we have 1 Eddie's for marching. Right over here. Of course, this is on the opposite arm. Something to be aware of. Let's see here. So if you wanted to go primitive, you do have those options. You have 1 sword and 2 spears per sprue. There are no shields, but I'm assuming that if you've built enough lizards, that probably isn't really going to be an issue, especially if you have access to either lizard men from other companies or any of the other Wargames Atlantic kits. Shields and those kinds of bits are going to be of no concern. The only problem is our lizard friends here do not have 5 fingers. They've only got 3 fingers and a thumb before anybody gets particular about things. We do have an extra knife slash sword slash machete on the sprue here. A couple of extra ammo packs, clips, some pouches over here. So overall, I gotta say, it's a nice set of options. You do only have 2 assault rifles though. Something to keep in mind there. I would have liked to have had maybe an extra handless rifle somewhere just to have it slung over their backs or like a bundle of spears. Maybe if these guys sell well enough to get a command option set, we might see some little extra bits like that. But I gotta say, looks like it's going to be a fun set to build. So give me a sec, I'll start building some and we'll see just how they turn out. Alright, so first things first, painted one up a while ago. And I didn't do the greatest job, and I'm not really sure what's going on there, why he's carrying extra swords, and I think that was a bit off of a Barbarian Victrix kit. I don't know. Don't ask. But he's built, so at least we have a painted sample to work with here. Get the camera a little bit lower and more focused on him. So yeah, here is our first sample painted model. Of course, I'm going to have some more. And I noticed right away, I really tried to build some normal ones, but that didn't last. I got like one, and then I started grabbing other bits. I'm like, you need some kind of close combat weapon, and why would you carry some crude handmade sword when, you've obviously got access to iron working and metal, and so let's give him something decent, right? But then things started getting overblown, and then I'm like, okay, well, let's just keep adding bits. Let's give him some throwing knives. Why not, right? And then things started to really diverge, and we started really messing around. So you can see here, he's got mostly actual bits glued on him. I think this is an extra Dark Age Irish cape. And I cut one of the blades off of a sword and glued it on as a bayonet, even though he's got another sword there strapped to his back, along with an extra ammo pouch that I may or may not have glued on backwards. The cape works. The cape works so much, I'm kind of tempted to go see if I have any more, and I want to build dragon bait. I was a hardcore nerd when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved Curse of the Azure Mons, and I need a dragon bait now. I have to give him a big old sword. Then I started really experimenting and getting weird. I don't even know what's going on here anymore. It looks like he's got like a robotic arm and a bunch of leftover AdMech bits. I think that might be a Wolfen shoulder pad. I'm surprised I didn't do anything to his head. And then I remember that one Johnny Depp movie with the lizard, and I thought, you know what I need? I need a gunslinger chameleon. So those guns are obviously off the Great Escape games. Not Great Escape. Oh gosh, the Dead Man's Hand stuff. I can't remember, but anyway, the plastic gunfighters. That's where those came in. I think that's one of those Warlord hats, but come on. That's perfect. We need more plastic chameleon gunfighters. So, yeah, I completely foregoed having any actual traditional primitive lizardmen. I'm not a big fan of primitive lizards, but you've probably heard me mention that before. Grabbing a very traditional primitive lizardman, he actually stacks up really well with these guys. I don't know if people still have piles of old, God, what was it, 4th or 5th edition plastic lizardmen? I mean, he looks like he could probably blend in pretty well, actually, which is kind of surprising. I didn't expect that. Grabbing another Wargames Atlantic model here. A Rumjäger for Deathfields. Well, obviously, would possibly be encountering some of these lizards. Scale looks to be pretty spot on, as I would expect, obviously, with our Wargames Atlantic mixing and matching of lines, because we have to. And then I started to think, you know what? How are they going to look with other more traditional historical kits? Grabbing a Victrix Barbarian here. What I'm starting to wonder is, I think I need to make some auxiliary lizard legionnaires. I think it needs to happen. Don't you guys think it needs to happen? I do. And I think it would totally work. And I know we have the late Roman kit coming from Wargames Atlantic anyway, so I might just have to save back a few bodies and see what kind of bizarre concoctions we can dream up here at Obscurities and Miniatures. But yeah, I'm totally thinking maybe save the arms. I have got plenty of extra Legionnaire arms. And they're right about the same size, obviously without the furs, but then, maybe I should put some furs on them too. I don't know. The creative juices are starting to bubble and brew, so that's always a good sign. Overall, I gotta say, I like the kit, but that's probably to be expected. The only thing, I guess, just to be really nitpicky, is I'd like a few optional weapon bits to drape across them that aren't being used. There weren't a lot of at-ease guns, and there weren't a lot of firing poses. We've got him kind of brandishing it, but that's about it. The AK-looking assault rifles, yeah, those are more on par with what I want, as they're kind of dashing into action. But I think if you've got an extensive bit box, and I really just barely started to touch mine, you absolutely can go hog wild with these, I think. The only thing is, with the hands, for the most part, if they're gripping the guns or the weapons, I don't think it's going to be a big issue. I'm starting to wonder, if I could cut them in half and then maybe use some of their bits with, like, those plastic gunfighters, and then I could have really plastic gunfighting Wild West lizards. Oh yeah. So yeah, give me some time, and you might end up seeing some gunfighting Legionnaire lizards. And just in case anybody's curious, so the GW ones are a bit bigger, but they're kind of established at this point. I'm not going to worry about it. I think these guys, if you're going to go that fantasy route, yeah, you've got some bits there to do it. But to me, I think the real attraction is having them kind of in some kind of Victorian sci-fi or Deathfields, run them as some kind of a Xeno race, allied legions, whatever the case may be. I think you can get a lot of bang for your buck with these guys, especially if you want to mix and match, and especially if you've got access to other sci-fi bits. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this kit. I know I am. And you should probably stick around, because who knows what kind of craziness I'm going to come up with next with these guys. We'll put a link down below if you haven't had a chance to check out Wargames Atlantic's site. They do thankfully have pretty good distribution all over the place. I know I've found them in my local stores, so that's always a plus, and I don't have to rely on the internet as always. But I had that caveat that Wargames Atlantic does run a lot of flash sales, so do take a look at their website, because chances are you can probably get a pretty good deal there. With that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.